May profits be upon you. This is part two of the weekly Forex forecast. The first part I took care of the indices and gold, silver, and US and UK oil and the US dollar index. In this one, I'm going to carry on with the FX pairs. All right, the FX, we're talking about euro, pound, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, uh, the Swiss franc, and the Japanese yen. Let's get started, shall we? How you like that for an intro? Just lasts about a minute. Okay, let's go. We're looking at the euro. We're looking at again. Understand we're talking about the euro futures right now. All of them, when you trade the when you trade on the spot, it's automatically going against the U.S. dollar. All the FX pairs, the euro, the USD, the euro, the pound, New Zealand dollar, Aussie dollar, are all going against, weighted against the U.S. dollar. So it's automatically euro USD. You understand? It's just the opposite with the US dollar CAD, the US dollar Swiss, and the US dollar yen. It's just the opposite on the, with the forex with the those are the forex pairs, but the futures versions are CAD US dollar, Japanese yen US dollar, and um, which one did I forget? The Swiss franc US dollar. But I'll make this easy for you when we get to them. You'll see. All right, so let's start off with the euro US dollar. You can see that uh, we had shown a break of structure, a bearish break of structure on the euro, right? Price pulls back because you're looking for price to pull back within this leg of structure and finding uh, resistance so that it could continue down to make the lower low, lower high, and then the lower low. Okay, price is taking its time here. Obviously, all right, it didn't just come straight down, of course, but it's making its way down. And you always you're always cognizant of the breaks of structure to the downside. Now we had a little rally, then comes back down, and look what happened on Friday. Well, last week we had a very bullish week, very bullish. All right, does that mean it's it's the market is reversing? No, it doesn't. All right, what it does mean is there's a potential there's a potential for price to finish this pullback, and we never take out the week high. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but there's potential for it. All right, and this bullish candle that we had with the news and all, you can see that the euro became stronger against the US dollar. All right. And what I want to see next week is, are we going to continue to this draw on liquidity, which is this old high over here? All right. Uh, are we going to create another bullish fair value gap? Don't worry about the drawing, but the fair value gap would start here. And we want to see if price prints another candle that'll give us another fair value gap, so that if price does take the swing high out here, we can come back and then continue higher. That's the bullish scenario. All right, we'll see about that next week. But on the daily, what we can see is price did create a daily fair value gap on Thursday. We had a very nice expansion, and then followed by Friday's expansion. All right, taking closing well above the previous daily high, leaving behind this bullish fair value gap. All right, should price print a doji type candle or whatever, or take out the swing high here, all right, we're going to expect price to pull back. And if we have a fair value gap created, once if it takes out this high, if it creates the fair value gap here, then price will could very well continue bullish from there. You understand? But if price prints out a doji candle before going, and then we see a pullback, we can expect to take a good what do you call a high probability uh, trade to the upside. We can take a buy there. All right, so we're watching to see if price is going to create another fair value gap. Here is the first. We got the first candle of it. This is the second candle. We want to see how this third candle prints. If it takes out that high, then we'll expect price to create a fair value gap for put price to pull back into, and that'll be a great trade. Hope you got all of that. All right, let's go to the pound, and on the pound, this one's a little clearer. The pound is pretty strong. You see how uh, we have this very bearish candle here, right? And then price overtakes it. It created an order block. We created a fair value gap from that order block. You understand? And price, this is just telling us that there is structure in place to, uh, you know, what do you call it? Not encourage, but to support higher prices. All right. And we're looking for price to create another fair value gap. All right. We got the first part. This is the first candle. This is the second candle of the leg, a nice expansion candle. We need another candle to create the top of the fair value gap. And if we get that, we have more support to show that price wants to go higher, right? And we are close to relative equal highs here. And this is going to be a great draw on price, draw on liquidity rather. So I'm looking for higher prices here. Okay. We want to see if Monday prints that candle there. All right. That will allow us to have another fair value gap created. Now, if price does come back through, come back down, I'm looking for higher prices. Just we can take a high probability trade to the upside from there. That makes sense. I hope it does. What did I just do? I did something wrong. So I took out something. What did I do? Okay, I don't know what I did. I thought I did something. All right. So excuse me. Aussie dollar. Finally, it comes alive. I've been talking about the Aussie dollar. If we go to the weekly, I've been talking about this Aussie dollar for a while. Be careful longing into areas of resistance, like the high time frame FVGs. You got an FVG up here, all right, a bearish fair value gap. It goes from here to here, all right. This is on the weekly, okay. This is on the weekly, and price is heading towards that as a draw on liquidity. There's some uh, low resistance, uh, a low resistance liquidity run on the daily that you'll see in a minute. But what I'm looking at is price is pushing 1, 2, 3, 4 candles in a row, 4 weeks in a row, bullish candles. Took out this swing high here, and uh, we may get a pullback into a fair value gap to go higher. Let's see what we got on the daily. All right, on the daily, we can see that price did take out this high, already, right? Took it out on Thursday, pulled back. You see the rejection wick. And then you see without a wick, without leaving a wick here, Friday, it was just all bullish, just all buys. All right. Price has to offer fair value. All right. That's why you'll see price come back and mitigate these areas. So the question is, are we going to see price pull back to this fair value gap before heading into this bearish fair value gap up here? Now on the daily, it's a smaller gap. It's a smaller gap. It's up here, right? But on the weekly, you can see how big it is. All right, but we have a low inducement here, low liquidity resistance run. All right, low liquidity, low a low resistance liquidity run. I'm sorry, and I'm looking for price to head higher. All right, I would love to see it pull back before it does so, maybe it gives a doji candle, a couple of them, Monday and Tuesday before pulling back and then going higher. That's what I'd like to see before we make this run, because I'm not going to take a buy from here. I don't like that. We taking out an uh, uh, external liquidity pool. All right, you want to see a move towards the internal liquidity pool before it just continues higher. If it just continues higher, we just have to wait for a pullback. You can take a buy from here if you want to, but those are high risk, in my opinion. Okay, if I may. So you got that? Got it. Good. All right. Let's see what we got here. Something's in my eye. That's great. New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory. Price pushed higher from here, leaving behind us uh, a rather big bullish fair value gap. All right, but price has filled that fair value gap, and this is what was left, and then it's fired off from there. This is what was left after coming down into the fair value gap. We pushed up higher, taking out this swing high and this swing high here. All right. Should we be seeing a pullback? Well, we're going to wait. Monday, again, we're going to see if price creates some fair value gaps here. All right. We may see price start to give the little short doji candles there. And if I can just get out of this mess, uh, if I can just pick the right doggone things, I'll be okay. I will be just fine. All right. We got two candles. If we see price expand from here into this bearish fair value gap, all right, which has already been tapped already. So I don't know. I don't know how strong this fair value gap is. All right. But if price pulls back and then goes higher, I'll take the pullback for a buy. All right. The New Zealand dollar is pretty strong, as you can tell by these candles, and we had a nice expansion candle here. I'm looking to see on Monday what kind of candle it prints, and I would look for higher prices to come. Do not think this bearish fair value gap is going to hold. We'll see, but I would love to see the pullback first before it goes high, before it goes higher, because I'm expecting it because we took out a swing high. So that that's the natural order of things. All right, so let's move on. We're going to the U.S. dollar CAD. Well, this is the CAD US dollar. All right, for the FX people who trade for FX. All right, I'm looking at the CAD futures, right, and it's been in this consolidation for the longest. All right, this is not something I want to trade in. This is why I got this up here. Like, just leave this one alone. You know what I'm saying? Let it figure itself out. Just the way we had to wait on Aussie dollar. I mean, on the Aussie, and the Aussie finally came alive, and we saw what happened after that. It made a strong. We have to wait until price breaks breaks below these highs and lows. All right, we want to see it trade through with a strong candle. All right, so it can give an indication as to what its ultimate intentions are. All right, right now we're consolidating. All right, and if you're a range trader, all right, this is perfect for you. You buy at the lows, all right, or you sell at the top, at the highs, right? And uh, just like we saw in the Aussie dollar. All right, there were some targets that I was looking at, some highs. I said, well, okay, well, we took a high here, and there's another high here near the swing high. All right, we can price could continue up higher here, but you see this rejection up here on that happened on Friday, and I'm looking at price coming back towards the fair value gap. All right. Price could very well go higher from their fair value gap. But here's the deal. You got to take it with a grain of salt, because when you're in consolidations, fair value gaps, order blocks, and all of that, they always get disrespected. You can look throughout here and see that, they don't hold all the time. All right. That's why I wait until the highs and the lows are taken out. I'm looking for these relative equal lows to get taken, so that I know that price is heading down. Okay, so I would suggest you wait on this one, but let's look at the US dollar CAD, the FX pair. All right, I'm looking on FXM. All right, and you can see that there is a bearish fair value gap. All right, and price is traded back into it. I'm looking for price to continue lower to this the swing low of this consolidation. That's what I'm looking for. All right, it's that simple. Okay, I'm hoping that helps. All right, so already swept the previous monthly low. All right, I hope you find this helpful. All right, we should be able to find a uh, a sell setup, a valid sell setup there. All right, but just be wary that we are near the lows. We are at the lows. All right, is price going to go lower and sweep this low and finally give us a hint as to what it wants to do? All right, that would mean that the US dollar is weak, and it is consistent with what my outlook is. All right, and that the CAD would outperform the US dollar. We'll see. All right, we will see. uh Leave a question in the comment section if you have any questions about that analysis. All right, let's look at the US dollar. Let's look at the Swiss franc. All right, Swiss franc. I find this one fascinating. Why? Because if we go to the weekly, where am I at? All right, if we go to the weekly, we can see that the last break of market structure was this low being broke here. That is a bearish break of market structure. So what do we have? We have price. Whenever you have a break of market structure, when you're taking out important lows where there's a lot of liquidity, you expect a pullback. All right, and we started to pull back. Here's the deal. All right, here's the deal. All right, in this pullback, you can see bullish, bullish candles going up into this bearish fair value gap. And it did its job, pushed price back, rejected price. All right, but what we have here is, if you put your Fibonacci retracement tool on it, you can see that what we have here is price coming back into discount range and reacting to the bullish fair value gaps. All right, to that bullish fair value gap here. And we could see higher prices from here. You understand? That would mean that the Swiss is stronger than the US dollar. All right. The US dollar weakened enough to where you can see the Swiss making some gains on it. Okay. That which would be consistent with my outlook for the next week. All right. Let's go to the daily. Let me see. Let's take a closer look. And we see the daily. And let's get rid of the distractive stuff. All right. I want you to see that there is a bit of a breaker block. All right, a breaker block here. All right, price moved up, pushed down, pushed higher, then took out the low. You wait for price to come back into this area here. This is my breaker here. Right? Price could continue lower. The only problem is that's a pattern. All right. The breaker is more than just a pattern. So what I'm looking for is uh, what I want you to realize is, if you pull back and look at the bigger picture, you can see that after this break of structure here, uh, you'll want to see price pull back a little further, at least 50%. All right, we haven't had that yet. This is why I'm not looking at this bearish breaker, to mean a whole lot. Okay, it may mean everything. We may see lower prices from here, which would mean we would take out that low, and that very well could happen. But I want you to be very careful. Next week, look for the fair value gaps, and we'll see if we get bullish ones or bearish ones, and then go from there. Okay, let that be your guide. Thank you for watching my video. I'll leave a link for the part 1